Marcus Williams lost his wife 3 months ago. Tonight he discovered she was murdered. Racing to the hospital, he found a gunman threatening innocent babies. Without hesitation, Marcus threw himself in front of a bullet meant for a newborn stranger. What happened next shook an entire city to its core. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. The rain fell hard on the city streets. Marcus Williams sat in his old truck outside the hospital. His hands shook as he held the steering wheel. Inside his chest, his heart beat like a drum. 3 months ago, his wife Sarah died giving birth to their daughter Emma. The doctors tried everything but they could not save her. Now Marcus was alone with a baby girl who had her mother's eyes. Tonight was different. Tonight, Marcus received a message that changed everything. Your wife's death was not an accident. Come to the old warehouse on 5th Street if you want the truth. Come alone. Midnight. Marcus looked at the hospital window where his mother-in-law was watching baby Emma. He had to know the truth. Sarah was healthy. The pregnancy was normal. Then suddenly during delivery something went wrong. The doctors said it was a rare complication. But Marcus never believed it. He drove through the dark streets. The warehouse appeared like a ghost in the rain. Marcus parked his truck and stepped out. Water soaked his jacket immediately. You came, a voice said from the shadows. A man walked into the dim light. His name was Detective James Carter. He was Sarah's childhood friend. Tell me what happened to my wife, Marcus demanded. 3 months ago there was a nurse at the hospital. Her name was Rita Holmes. She was stealing medication and selling it on the streets. Your wife saw her one night. Sarah reported her to the hospital management. Marcus felt his blood turn cold. Rita was fired, Detective Carter continued. She lost everything. Her license, her job, her reputation. She blamed Sarah. On the night Emma was born, Rita snuck back into the hospital. She injected something into Sarah's foreline during delivery. The autopsy showed traces but the hospital covered it up. They didn't want the scandal. Where is she? Marcus asked. His voice was quiet but filled with rage. That's why I called you here. Rita is planning something tonight. She knows you've been asking questions. She wants to hurt you the way she thinks Sarah hurt her. What is she planning? The neonatal unit. She's going back to the hospital tonight. She wants to hurt the babies. She wants you to feel the pain she felt when she lost everything. Marcus ran to his truck. His heart hammered in his chest. Emma was in that hospital. All those innocent babies were in danger. Marcus drove like a man possessed. The hospital was 15 minutes away, but he had to make it in 5. His phone rang. It was his mother-in-law, Patricia. Marcus, there's something wrong. The nurses are acting strange. Security is looking for someone. Lock Emma's room. Don't let anyone in except doctors you know. I'm coming. Marcus pushed the gas pedal harder. The rain made the road slippery but he couldn't slow down. His daughter's life depended on it. When he reached the hospital he saw police cars outside. Detective Carter had called for backup. Marcus ran through the emergency entrance. His wet shoes squeaked on the clean floors. He reached the elevator and pressed the button for the 4th floor. The neonatal unit. The elevator doors opened. Marcus heard screaming. He ran down the hallway. Nurses were evacuating babies from their rooms. A security guard lay on the floor, blood pooling around his leg. She's in the nursery, a nurse shouted. Marcus sprinted toward the main nursery. Through the glass windows he could see rows of tiny beds with sleeping babies. And there, standing in the middle of the room, was Rita Holmes. She looked different from her photo. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were wild. In her hand she held a gun. Rita! Marcus shouted. She turned to him. A sick smile crossed her face. The husband. Perfect. You should watch this. You should see what it feels like to lose everything. These babies did nothing to you. I did nothing to you. This isn't about justice. This is about your guilt. My guilt. Rita laughed. Your wife destroyed my life. I gave 15 years to that hospital. 15 years. And one report from her perfect little mouth ended everything. You were stealing medication. You were selling drugs. You were hurting people. I was surviving. My mother needed cancer treatment. The hospital didn't pay enough. I did what I had to do. By killing my wife? By threatening innocent babies? Rita's hand tightened on the gun. Behind her, in one of the clear bassinets, a newborn baby began to cry. The sound was soft but piercing. That crying, Rita whispered. It never stops. In my head it never stops. Marcus took a step forward. His mind raced. He needed to distract her. He needed to save these babies. Rita, listen to me. I understand pain. I understand loss. My wife is gone. My daughter will never know her mother. But this won't bring back what you lost. This will only create more pain. Good, Rita said. Let the world burn. She turned the gun toward the crying baby. Marcus didn't think. He ran. Time moved slowly. Marcus saw everything with terrible clarity. Rita's finger on the trigger. The baby in the bassinet, tiny and helpless. The distance between him and the gun. He wasn't going to make it in time. But he ran anyway. Rita fired. The sound exploded in the small room. Marcus dove forward, putting his body between the bullet and the baby. Fire erupted in his shoulder. The impact spun him around. He crashed into the bassinet, his arms wrapping around it protectively. The baby inside screamed, but she was safe. The bullet was in Marcus's shoulder, not in her tiny body. Rita stood frozen. She hadn't expected him to do that. She hadn't expected someone to choose a stranger's baby over his own life. You're insane, she whispered. No, Marcus gasped through the pain. I'm a father. Police burst through the door. Detective Carter led them. They tackled Rita to the ground. The gun clattered across the floor. Marcus slid down the wall, still holding the bassinet. His vision blurred. Blood soaked his shirt. But the baby was alive. All the babies were alive. A nurse rushed over. Oh my God. Sir, stay with us. Help is coming. Emma, Marcus whispered. My daughter. Is she safe? She's safe. She's with your mother-in-law. They're both safe. Marcus closed his eyes. The pain was overwhelming, but underneath it was something else. He had protected an innocent life. He had done what Sarah would have wanted. The paramedics arrived. They worked on him quickly, efficiently. As they lifted him onto a stretcher, Marcus saw Rita being led away in handcuffs. Their eyes met for a moment. She was crying. I'm sorry, she mouthed. But sorry couldn't bring back Sarah. Sorry couldn't heal the wounds. Sorry was just a word in the darkness. Marcus woke up in a hospital bed. His shoulder was bandaged. Tubes ran from his arms to machines that beeped steadily. Sunlight streamed through the window. He was alive. You're awake, a voice said softly. Patricia sat in a chair next to his bed. Her eyes were red from crying. In her arms, wrapped in a pink blanket, was Emma. My baby, Marcus whispered. She's perfect, Patricia said. Just like her mother. What happened? You were in surgery for 6 hours. The bullet damaged your shoulder badly. The doctor said you might not regain full use of your arm. But you're alive. You're here. And the other baby? The one eye. She's fine. Her name is Grace. Her parents want to meet you. Marcus, what you did, the whole hospital is talking about it. You saved her life. Marcus looked at Emma. She slept peacefully, unaware of the violence that had happened just floors below her room. I couldn't let another child lose their future. I couldn't let another family feel what we feel. Patricia squeezed his hand. Sarah would be so proud of you. Over the next few days the story spread. The local news picked it up. Single dad takes bullet for stranger's baby. The headline was everywhere. People started coming to the hospital. They brought flowers, cards, and gifts. Parents of the babies in the nursery that night came to thank him. Grace's parents, Michael and Jennifer Torres, visited every day. We don't have words, Jennifer said, tears streaming down her face. You gave up your safety for our daughter. How do we ever repay that? Watch her grow, Marcus said simply. Love her every day. That's enough. But the attention made Marcus uncomfortable. He wasn't a hero. He was just a father who did what any parent would do. 3 months later, Rita Holmes stood trial. Marcus had to testify. Walking into that courtroom was one of the hardest things he ever did. Rita sat at the defense table. She looked smaller somehow. Broken. When she saw Marcus enter with his arm in a sling, she looked away. The prosecutor was a sharp woman named Elena Rodriguez. She laid out the case methodically. The theft of medication. The murder of Sarah Williams. The attempted attack on the nursery. This woman, Elena said, pointing at Rita, let her pain turn into poison. She didn't just break the law. She destroyed lives. Rita's lawyer tried to paint her as a victim. He talked about her sick mother. Her financial struggles. The pressure she was under. My client made mistakes, he said. But she's not a monster. She's a human being who broke under impossible circumstances. When it was time for Marcus to testify, he walked to the stand slowly. His shoulder still ached. Probably always would. Mr. Williams, Elena said. Can you tell the court what happened on the night of January 15th? Marcus told his story. He described the message from Detective Carter. The race to the hospital. The moment Rita pointed the gun at baby Grace. Why did you run toward the gun? Elena asked. Marcus looked at Rita. Because that baby couldn't run. Because someone had to stand between evil and innocence. Because I'm a father and fathers protect children. All children. Even though it might cost you your life? Especially then. The courtroom was silent. Several jurors wiped their eyes. Rita's lawyer cross-examined him. Mr. Williams, isn't it true that you wanted revenge? That you went to that warehouse hoping to find my client? I went there looking for truth. And when you found her, didn't you want to hurt her? The woman who killed your wife. Marcus took a deep breath. Yes. For a moment, I wanted her to suffer. But then I saw those babies. And I realized that revenge doesn't heal wounds. Revenge just creates more pain. My wife wouldn't want more pain in this world. When it was Rita's turn to testify, she broke down. I never meant for Sarah to die, she sobbed. I was so angry. I lost control. And when I lost everything, I wanted everyone else to lose too. I know that's wrong. I know I'm a monster. Are you sorry? Her lawyer asked. Sorry isn't enough, Rita said. Sorry won't bring her back. Sorry won't fix what I broke. But yes, I'm sorry. I'm so deeply sorry. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. When they returned, their verdict was clear. Guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced Rita to life in prison without parole for Sarah's murder. Additional sentences for attempted murder and assault ran consecutively. As they led her away, Rita stopped in front of Marcus. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For showing me what it means to be human. I forgot somewhere along the way. But watching you take that bullet, it reminded me what we're supposed to be. Marcus didn't respond. He just watched as they took her away. The trial ended, but the healing was just beginning. Marcus threw himself into being a father. Emma was growing fast. She had Sarah's smile and Sarah's gentle spirit. The injury to his shoulder meant Marcus couldn't work construction anymore. He couldn't lift heavy materials or swing a hammer. His old life was over. But sometimes endings create new beginnings. The hospital where everything happened offered him a job in their security department. We need good people, the administrator said. People who understand what really matters. Marcus accepted. Working there was hard at first. Every hallway reminded him of Sarah. Every time he passed the delivery wing, he felt the ghost of her presence. But he also saw life. Babies being born. Families beginning their journeys. Joy mixing with pain the way it always does in hospitals. Grace's parents, Michael and Jennifer, became close friends. Grace and Emma had playdates. Watching the girls play together filled Marcus with a bittersweet happiness. She could have been gone, Jennifer said one afternoon as they watched the girls. If you hadn't been there. But I was there, Marcus said. And she's here. That's what matters. The city hadn't forgotten Marcus's sacrifice. A local businessman named Harold Chin read about the story. He created a foundation in Sarah's name to help families struggling with medical costs. Your wife saw someone breaking the rules to pay for medical care, Harold said when he met Marcus. Maybe if we help more families afford treatment, fewer people will feel desperate enough to break those rules. The Sarah Williams Foundation grew quickly. They helped hundreds of families pay for cancer treatment, expensive medications, and emergency surgeries. Marcus spoke at their fundraisers. He told Sarah's story. He told his story. And he told people that pain doesn't have to lead to more pain. That we can choose differently. 2 years after the shooting, Marcus received a letter in the mail. It was from the state prison. The return address made his hands shake. Rita Holmes. He almost threw it away. What could she possibly have to say? But something made him open it. The letter was written in careful handwriting. It was clear Rita had written it multiple times before getting it right. Dear Marcus, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know what happened after you took that bullet. In prison, I have a lot of time to think. Too much time, really. I think about Sarah every day. I think about what I took from the world when I killed her. A good woman. A mother. A wife. Someone who was just trying to do the right thing. I also think about you running toward that gun. You could have run away. You could have saved yourself. But you chose to save a baby you didn't even know. Something broke inside me when I saw that. Or maybe something broke open. I realized I had become the exact thing I hated. I had become someone who hurts the innocent to ease my own pain. I'm getting help here. Therapy. Medication. I'm trying to understand why I did what I did. The answer isn't simple. It's not just about my mother's illness or losing my job. It's about anger I've carried since childhood. Trauma I never processed. Pain I turned into poison. I joined a program here where inmates write to crime victims. Not to make excuses. Just to take responsibility. To say, I did this. I hurt you. I'm sorry. Most victims don't write back. I understand that. I'm also tutoring other inmates. Teaching them to read and write. It's a small thing. But it's something. Some way to create a little good in all this darkness. There's a woman here named Denise. She killed her husband in a rage. She has a daughter she'll probably never see again. I talk to her every day. I tell her about you. About the choice you made. About how we can become better than our worst moments. I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that your sacrifice didn't just save baby Grace that night. It saved something in me too. Some small piece of humanity I thought I'd lost forever. Tell Emma about her mother. Tell her Sarah was brave and good. Tell her that her father is a hero, even if he doesn't believe it. I'm sorry isn't enough. But I'm sorry. Rita Holmes. Marcus read the letter 3 times. His emotions were complicated. He still felt anger. He still felt grief. But underneath those feelings was something unexpected. Relief. Not forgiveness. He wasn't sure he could ever fully forgive. But relief that Rita was trying to be better. That Sarah's death and his sacrifice had created some small spark of change in a broken woman's heart. He put the letter in a drawer. Maybe someday he would show it to Emma. Or maybe he would keep it to himself. Either way, it was another step forward. Another piece of healing. 5 years after Sarah's death, Marcus stood at her grave. Emma held his hand. She was 5 years old now, smart and curious and full of life. Mommy is here? Emma asked. Her body is here, Marcus said gently. But her love is everywhere. It's in you. It's in every choice I make. It's in the foundation that helps sick people. It's in the friends we've made. I wish I knew her. Me too, baby. Me too. But I'll tell you about her every day. I'll tell you how she loved strawberries and hated scary movies. How she sang in the shower. How she wanted to change the world one good deed at a time. Emma placed flowers on the grave. White lilies, Sarah's favorite. Other people had gathered at the cemetery. The hospital staff who worked that night. Detective Carter, who had become a close friend. Grace and her parents. Dozens of families helped by the Sarah Williams Foundation. Harold Chin spoke. 5 years ago we lost Sarah Williams. But her legacy lives on. Through this foundation, we've helped over 2,000 families afford medical care. We've prevented desperate people from making Rita Holmes's choices. We've created hope where there was only despair. Jennifer Torres spoke next. 5 years ago, Marcus Williams saved my daughter's life. But he did more than that. He showed us what true courage looks like. He showed us that we can choose love over hate. Protection over revenge. Sacrifice over safety. Then Marcus spoke. He hadn't planned to, but the moment felt right. Sarah used to say that one person can't change the world. But one person can change one life. And that one life can change another life. Like ripples in water, spreading out forever. I didn't take that bullet to be a hero. I took it because I'm a father. And fathers protect. That's what we do. That's what Sarah would have done. Rita Holmes made terrible choices. She hurt people. She destroyed families. But she was also a human being in pain. And I think if we're honest, we all have moments where pain tempts us to hurt others. The difference is what we choose to do with that pain. So today we remember Sarah. But we also commit to being better. To helping each other. To creating a world where fewer people feel so desperate that they break. Where more people feel loved enough to heal. The crowd was silent. Many were crying. Emma tugged Marcus's hand. Daddy, can we help more people? Like Mommy wanted. Marcus picked her up, his shoulder aching slightly like it always did. Yes, baby. We can help more people. That's exactly what we'll do. 7 years after the shooting, Marcus received a call from the prison. Rita Holmes was being released on medical parole. She had terminal cancer. 6 months to live, maybe less. The warden wanted to know if Marcus objected to her release. Marcus thought for a long time. Part of him wanted Rita to serve her full sentence. To die in prison the way Sarah died in the hospital. But another part of him remembered the letter. The tutoring program. The small attempts at redemption. I don't object, he finally said. 3 weeks later there was a knock on his door. When he opened it, he saw an old woman. She was thin, frail, supported by a walker. It took him a moment to recognize Rita. I'm sorry to come here, she said weakly. I shouldn't have. But I'm dying and I needed to say goodbye. Emma peeked around Marcus's legs. Who is she, Daddy? Marcus's heart clenched. How do you explain this to a 7-year-old? She's someone who made very bad choices. But she's also someone who's trying to make better ones. Rita looked at Emma with tears streaming down her face. You look like your mother. She was beautiful. You knew my mommy? Yes. And I hurt her. I hurt her very badly. That was wrong. Emma thought about this seriously. Did you say sorry? I did. But sorry isn't enough. Daddy says sorry is the first step. Then you have to do better. Your daddy is very wise. Marcus invited Rita in. He didn't know why. Maybe it was for Emma to show her how forgiveness works. Maybe it was for himself to close this chapter finally. Or maybe it was for Sarah, who always believed people could change. They sat in the living room. Rita looked around at the photos. Sarah's picture held a place of honor above the fireplace. I'm so sorry, Rita said again. I know you've heard it before. But facing death makes things clear. I wasted my life on anger. I destroyed others because I was destroyed. If I could go back. But you can't, Marcus said. Not unkindly. Just honestly. No, I can't. But I wanted you to know that your sacrifice changed me. Those therapy sessions in prison. The tutoring. The letters. I became a better person. Too late to fix what I broke. But maybe early enough to help a few other broken people. How many people did you help? In 7 years? I tutored 43 inmates. 12 of them got their GED. 3 got into college programs. 2 have been released and are living good lives now. It's not much compared to what I took. But it's something. Marcus nodded. It is something. Rita stayed for an hour. She asked about Emma's school. About Marcus's work. About the foundation. She shared stories about her mother who had died 3 years ago, and about her own childhood, which explained so much. When she stood to leave, Emma did something unexpected. She hugged Rita's legs. I hope heaven is nice, Emma said simply. Rita sobbed. Thank you, sweet girl. You're kinder than I deserve. At the door, Rita turned to Marcus one last time. When I die, I'm leaving my body to science. And the little money I have goes to the Sarah Williams Foundation. It's not much, but maybe it helps one family. Maybe that one family doesn't break the way I broke. Thank you, Marcus said. No, thank you. For showing me what I could have been. What I should have been. Thank you for being the kind of person who runs toward bullets instead of away from them. 6 weeks later, Rita Holmes died. True to her word, her savings, about $12,000, went to the foundation. It helped 3 families afford cancer treatment. Marcus attended her funeral. Only 5 people were there. He was the only one not related to her or the prison chaplain. Why did you come? The chaplain asked. Because Sarah would have, Marcus said. Because even people who do terrible things are still people. Because mercy matters. 10 years after the shooting, the city held a ceremony. They were naming the pediatric wing at the hospital after Sarah Williams. Marcus stood with Emma, now 12 years old and already so much like her mother. Grace stood with them, a confident 10-year-old who wanted to be a doctor. The hospital administrator gave a speech. 10 years ago, tragedy struck this place. We lost Sarah Williams, a woman who stood for what was right. But from that tragedy came something beautiful. Marcus Williams showed us what it means to sacrifice. To protect. To choose love even when hate seems easier. The Sarah Williams Foundation has now helped over 7,000 families. 7,000 times that someone didn't have to break the law to save a loved one. 7,000 times that desperation turned into hope. They unveiled the sign, Sarah Williams Pediatric Wing, where every child matters. Emma cried. Marcus held her close. Mommy would love this, she whispered. She would, Marcus agreed. She really would. After the ceremony, people lined up to meet Marcus. Families helped by the foundation. Nurses who worked that night. People who had heard the story and were inspired to be better. One woman approached with her teenage son. Mr. Williams? You don't know me. But 15 years ago I was in a dark place. I was about to do something terrible. Then I read about what you did. How you chose to protect instead of destroy. Your story saved me. It reminded me that we always have a choice. And your son? Marcus asked. He's alive because I made the right choice. Because you showed me the right choice. This happened over and over. People whose lives had been touched by that one night. That one decision to run toward danger instead of away from it. As the sun set, Marcus and Emma walked through the hospital. They passed the nursery where it all happened. Through the glass they could see rows of tiny babies, each one a new beginning. Daddy, Emma said. When I grow up, I want to be like you and Mommy. I want to help people. You already do, baby. Just by being kind. Just by choosing love. But I want to do more. Then you will. The world needs more people who choose to do more. They stood there for a long time watching the baby sleep. Each one represented hope. Each one represented possibility. Each one represented a future that almost didn't happen. Marcus thought about that night 10 years ago. The rain. The fear. The bullet tearing through his shoulder. The choice to sacrifice himself for a stranger's child. He thought about Sarah, who had died doing the right thing. Who had reported a crime and paid for it with her life. He thought about Rita, broken and desperate, making terrible choices that destroyed everything. He thought about Grace, alive and thriving because someone chose to stand between her and violence. And he thought about Emma, who would carry Sarah's legacy forward. Who would make her own choices. Who would, he hoped, always choose love over hate. Daddy? Emma asked. Do you ever regret it? Taking that bullet? Marcus looked at his daughter. At the hospital full of healing. At the world still spinning, still giving people chances to be better. Never, he said. Not for a single second. Because that's what fathers do. That's what good people do. They protect. They sacrifice. They choose the hard right over the easy wrong. And sometimes, if they're very lucky, their sacrifice creates ripples that spread out forever, touching lives they'll never know, changing the world one person at a time. Sarah would be proud. Marcus was sure of that. And that was enough. Emma Williams stood at a podium, now a pediatric doctor at the very hospital where her mother died and her father became a hero. Before her sat hundreds of medical students, eager and nervous, about to begin their careers. 20 years ago, Emma began, my father took a bullet to save a baby he didn't know. He could have run away. He could have chosen safety. But he chose sacrifice. That baby, Grace Torres, is now a trauma surgeon. She saves lives every day because my father saved her first. My mother, Sarah Williams, died because she did the right thing. She reported a crime. She stood up for what was correct. And it cost her everything. But her death wasn't meaningless. It created a foundation that has now helped 30,000 families. 30,000 times that someone got the care they needed without breaking the law. I tell you this because medicine isn't just about treating symptoms. It's about understanding that every patient has a story. Every person who walks through these doors is fighting battles we can't see. Rita Holmes was a nurse who made terrible choices. But she was also a woman in pain. A daughter watching her mother die. A person who broke under pressure. I'm not excusing what she did. But I'm saying we need to understand why people break. So we can help them before they do. My father taught me that we always have a choice. Pain can make us bitter or better. Loss can make us cruel or compassionate. Every single day we choose. So as you begin your careers, I ask you to remember, every patient matters. Every life is sacred. And sometimes the most powerful medicine we have is simply choosing to care. The students stood and applauded. Some were crying. Marcus sat in the front row, older now, his hair gray, his shoulder permanently damaged but his spirit strong. Next to him sat Patricia, Sarah's mother, who had helped raise Emma. And next to her sat Grace, who had flown in from Boston to hear Emma's speech. After the ceremony, the three of them stood together. Sarah would be so proud, Patricia said. She is proud, Marcus replied. Wherever she is, she's proud. Grace hugged Emma. You're amazing. Your mother lives on through you. Through all of us, Emma corrected. Through every choice to be better. Every decision to protect instead of destroy. Every moment we choose love. They walked through the Sarah Williams pediatric wing. The walls were covered with photos and stories. Children who had been saved. Families who had been helped. Lives that had been changed. And in the center, a plaque with Sarah's photo and a quote. One person can't change the world. But one person can change one life. And that one life can change another. Like ripples in water, spreading out forever. Below it, a second plaque. On January 15, 2025, Marcus Williams chose to protect a stranger's child at the cost of his own safety. His sacrifice reminded us that we are all connected. That every child matters. That love is stronger than hate. Emma touched the plaque gently. Hey Daddy. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't been there that night? Marcus thought about it. About Grace, who might not have survived. About his own life, which might have stayed frozen in grief. About the foundation, which might never have grown. About all the ripples that spread from that one moment. I think, he said slowly, that we're all exactly where we're supposed to be. The pain shaped us. The loss taught us. The sacrifice defined us. And we're all better for it. Even Rita? Even Rita. She made terrible choices. But in the end she tried to be better. That has to count for something. Emma nodded. I've been thinking about writing a book. About all of this. So people know the full story. So they understand that heroes are just ordinary people who make extraordinary choices. Your mother would love that. Will you help me? Of course. But you have to promise me something. What? Tell the whole truth. The good and the bad. The pain and the healing. Don't make me perfect. Don't make Sarah a saint. Don't make Rita a monster. Show that we're all human. That we all have choices. And that choosing to be better matters. I promise. They stood there, 3 generations of pain and healing, looking at the legacy they had built together. Outside the hospital, the sun was setting. But inside, new lives were beginning. Babies being born. Patients being healed. Stories being written. And in that moment, Marcus understood something profound. Sarah wasn't gone. She lived on in Emma. In the foundation. In every family they helped. In every person who chose to be better because they heard this story. Love doesn't die. It transforms. It spreads. It creates ripples that touch shores we'll never see. That night, Marcus went home to his small house. He sat in his favorite chair and looked at Sarah's photo. We did good, baby, he whispered. Our daughter is amazing. Your legacy is strong. And I kept my promise. I protected our girl. I taught her to be like you. And somewhere in the universe he believed Sarah smiled. Because love never dies. It just changes form. And keeps spreading. Forever.